Welcome back to 40 Minute Mentor. I really hope you're all doing well and you've enjoyed the last few weeks of our wellbeing feature series. Today, I wanted to talk to you about two topics that continually come up, and that's not just on the podcast, but also when I speak to candidates and clients every day. Those two topics are community building and staying true to your purpose. Over the course of Series 9, these particular topics were discussed at length with our 40-minute mentors, so we thought we'd share some of the best advice that we've heard over the course of this series in the form of a Roundup episode. So let's dive in to get a dose of mentorship.
I think that the vanity metric thing is a good point. I think there's so many, certainly when you're building on social, like, is it about getting 1 million views or is it about engagement? I mean, for us, we actually quite early on made a pretty kind of conscious decision to sort of, we said, let's focus on like engagement and depth versus just like growing the numbers for numbers' sake. So we are always trying to sort of draw a line back to like impact, like what did this thing do? Like, did people do a workout? Or did they cook the recipes, or did they download, the free budget recipe pack? And I think that's all happened quite organically, because when Joe started posting video recipes, what was amazing, was you'd post a video at like 4 p.m. and like people would then go home and get on the train and they'd be like, think for Instagram. And this was back in the old days where like it was all chronological order as well. So we used to be like really mindful, like, let's post breakfast recipes in the morning and like let's post dinner recipes in the afternoon. And people would then like at 6-7 o'clock, we'd get all these pictures coming in, like on people sharing on social, like, I saw your recipe on the way home, I popped into Sainsbury's and bought the ingredients, I've just made it and like it was lovely. Or I was about to get a pizza, but then I saw your recipe. Like, so we've always just fed off that, like, and it's really what I guess we saw that happening, and we just kind of just in the way we work, like we always try to create content that's useful and valuable. Joe's not one to sort of lean into, he doesn't sort of do many trends that often now you kind of have to play the game a bit with the algorithms to get the reach and the views. But it's been really easy to say like no to things when you're so clear on it. Well, does it do the thing we want it to do, which is like get people moving, get them to cook a recipe, or get them sort of or for example, we talk about mental health and sleep a lot now as well. Like, can we help inspire people to go to bed a bit earlier because they're gonna feel better? So I think focusing on like what do you want the outcome to be, like, because it's really easy to get 1 million views on Instagram or TikTok. Like, I always use this example, but like if you post a video of a cat doing sit-ups, like you're probably going to get 1 million views quite easily. And look, entertainment is great. Like making people laugh is also a good thing, right? I think Joe's great at also just making people smile sometimes, even when you think about those first Lean 15 videos, like throwing rice across the kitchen, and it was entertaining as well. So I'm not saying that entertainment isn't important, but yeah, I think we are focused on like, what does this thing help people do?
And it started with a community. So we would meet every first Saturday of the month in the London South Bank Centre, because it was free to do that. And it would be me and anyone who had found me on LinkedIn or through my email list, come along, underrepresented people in tech, women, people of color, whatever. Let's talk about what we want to get out of our careers. Let's help each other. Let's level the playing field and use our network, use our connections. And now 6 years later, we've been able to turn the insight from our community into training programs that everyone from NHS to Stella McCartney, Bloom and Wild, all plants have been on a training program that makes those employers more inclusive so that they can retain amazing people like me and, not have microaggressions, not have banter that's actually racist, sexist, or harmful. So yeah, it's been a very interesting ride. When it comes to community building, for me, it's not about size. It's not about numbers. It's not about how quickly can we get to 1 million members of Hustle Crew, all the things that people want you to do. For me, it's about how many meaningful exchanges can we have with individuals? Because ultimately, if I only impact one person this month, but the impact was someone who, was facing homelessness or eviction, has now got a paid job and they can get their bills paid and they're fine, that's so much more important to me than gaining 10,000 new followers or 20,000 followers. You know what I mean? So Community for me has always been, what is our purpose? Why do we exist? What's it all for? Why does it even matter? And when people come to us at their time of need in a way that aligns with our purpose, we are there for you. And that means that we have also had to learn to be clear about what's not our purpose.
I think we have always been very kind of just storytellers and telling our story. So I think the reason why people have really resonated with it and buy into it is because it's just being ourselves. And I think a lot of people try to be someone they're not. They're like, on Instagram, I need to be cool. On TikTok, I need to be silly. On LinkedIn, I need to be serious. But it's just you can be the same person on all platforms, just be yourself. And obviously it helps when you're different or unique in some way and you really lean into your differences, or if you want to call it a niche, you lean into that. But for me, it's obviously about this being a working class brown young founder and just doing something you love and being passionate about it and telling stories in the way and not taking yourself too seriously.
There's a dark side to all of this. And those platforms have never been responsible for they've never felt a duty to make people feel safe or valued. That's not why they exist. They see their job as connect. Do you know what, Zuckerberg? You've done a bloody great job of that. You've connected 2 billion people. But now we're going to inspire them, we're going to unite them, and we're going to empower them in a new social home where you feel valued, where you get paid every time you watch an ad, where we unite in support of the planet, and where we can live in a world with zero tolerance of hate. And you can't be anonymous here. So if you want to be anonymous and dodgy, just stay over there.
Yeah.
That's fine. In fact, dance on TikTok, tweet on Twitter, but change the world on 8. Because we really want you to scroll less and live more. And the way we've constructed it, because we've pulled the ad model out, so now you can watch 2 minutes of ads a day, whenever, wherever you want.
I don't think I separate. I actually don't think I want to separate as well. This is all too consuming. And part of what Gaia is almost started as an obsession. And I think that's okay. I do want this to be my personal legacy, that we fixed a broken part of healthcare that I've experienced. And I don't think I'm going to do that by separating. I think I'm going to do that by being all in. And I don't think I chose to be balanced about this, because I chose purposely to be obsessed with the problem. But I think that's what sort of drives me to really solve it. What I did since day one, which is maybe to answer your question a little bit differently, is I avoided the common pitfall where some founders do, which is they design for themselves. I didn't separate the emotion from the business building, and I was auto-consumed and I'm fairly obsessed with the problem because I've experienced it beforehand. But I don't think I've ever let my bias, having gone through the process, influence a product or a decision without really basing that on what would work for a large swathe of the population that are going through it. And I think that's a common pitfall that I usually see. It's you over-index on your own experience or journey. I've probably done it 1 or 2 times, but it's way too few and that guided our product and design thinking since day one. We never really designed for myself.
We spent last week in Windsor with the 15 finalists from last year. And first of all, just kind of spending a whole week away from the office with those inspiring change makers has been really, really great. Forming a bit of a cohort, all those kind of friendships, people that are going to continue to go on and do these incredible things, and being able to be part of that group is something that is really great. And I think that the Usher Prize has done very well. The whole retreat was organized by IDEO, so also very inspirational in terms of the content, incredible speakers, founders, people working in NGOs, investors, policymakers, activists. It was just an incredible level of content that was given to us. And I think obviously the time we spent with the prince was really great as well. The fact that he knows very well what we're doing and the challenges that we have, and that this is on his mind. And next time he's meeting Joe Biden, he might kind of say, hey, by the way, what are you doing about this or that? That's a really great opportunity. He really wants to help. He's obviously not running the day-to-day, but like he's also created an incredible team. And so the Earthshot Prize team, which is a big team, I think there are like over 50 people, is like really incredible, like trying to leverage every opportunity for the finalists and the winners. And I think the takeaway is like it's forced us to think big about what we can ask, because I think the lean mentality of startups being kind of like expected to create every opportunity on your own has forced us to maybe think a little bit smaller about what we can ask. But I think now we are like, okay, we can just
go big.
Yeah, exactly. They say to the finalists, your dreams are our dreams now. So they really kind of like want to be the backing team to make sure that things happen.
Content and community go hand in hand. As a team, we create content and stuff that we really would want to read ourselves or consume or share with others. And we have a very high standard of like, is it interesting enough? Does it tell us new things? We do monthly community feedback drinks where we get women together to talk about their experiences with, you know, different parts of women's health. Extraordinarily like helpful to us to be, you know, make sure that we're really tapped into what our community wants. But that was a very organic, you know, idea that we've just sort of worked with, and now it's working incredibly well.
Thank you so much for tuning in again. And if you haven't heard all of our Series 9 episodes yet, please do scroll back through the archives and tune in. There's so much great mentorship in this series, and I would hate for you to miss out. If you are already a big 40-Minute Mentor fan, then please don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on any of your favorite podcast platforms. As much as we don't focus on vanity metrics here at JBM, we do know how much the reviews help us to spread the word and make mentorship more accessible. So anything you can do to share the love would be greatly appreciated. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you again next week for our brand new VC feature series. Thanks so much, and see you then.